gonna be honest. I don't understand the hate on this fish. It's just a fish. It's a fish that does what fish do. You know, the fish does what fish do, and it's just doing fish stuff. It's not like an abomination to God, I would say. I would say it's a fish. Okay. We're watching why these fish belong in a horror movie more than sharks. Oh, dude, I've heard of creepy fish. I've seen some creepy fish. But, like, I want to know about the creepy fish. There's no way to catch them because they're deep. The creepy fish are supposed to be deep down, and this is not deep down. This is surface level. There's no way to catch deep fish at a surface level. Oh.
Eu gostei assim, amostradinho.
That's just this.
You know, the greatest trick
smiling
Hollywood ever
face.
pulled was convincing the world that sharks are the only things to fear in the water. There be monsters.
Oh my God.
In the last video, we talked
They're
about
just
how
saying
sharks might just
hi. They're happy. They're like hi, 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 hi.
be the most misunderstood creatures in nature, with a PR team that works about as hard as a whiteout's brain after 6 rounds of CTE. They've been done so dirty, they've actually overshadowed the other ichthyological insanity spawned from Satan's septic tank. These are 7 fish that should honestly terrify you more than any shark. This isn't really to substitute one fear for another, but I do think these fish could make a much more traumatizing, nightmare-inducing horror flick than Jaws. And it starts right here. Those eyes belong to a pair of Arapaimas, also known as a pirarucu. You've definitely seen them before. Does this video ring a bell?
No. Wait, what happened in that video? That video does not ring a bell. What?
It's one of the biggest freshwater middle fingers nature forgot to vault, usually growing to over 6 feet long and 200-something pounds. It's bad enough those are NBA
This looks
point
like
guard
a fish. I'm gonna be honest. This is a fish. You know what I mean? Like, some fish don't look like fish. This looks like a fish that I think of when I see a... No. This looks like a fish that I see when I think of a fish. Like, it's a fish-looking fish. You understand what I mean, right? It's a fish-looking fish.
The beefiest ones can get to 10 feet in length and weigh over 400
pounds. It's a fish-looking fish, you know?
This Jurassic roid guppy usually eats other fish to go with fruits and seeds, but also birds and allegedly even monkeys sitting on branches too close to water. If you don't believe that, it's because you haven't seen them hunt. They're explosively quick, and the aquatic black hole has been known to confuse feet for fish and violently pull people underwater. One zookeeper reportedly made the mistake of trying to retrieve a glove that had fallen into an Arapaima pool, and in a split second got his hand, wrist, and several fingers broken. There's also the fact that a refrigerator-sized fish will yeet themselves out of water in self-defense. And let's talk about that defense. The plus-size bite is covered in heavily armored scales, not only tough enough to tank piranha attacks, locals historically use them as nail files. They've also used their tongues as scrapers, since these fish have teeth growing out of a bony tongue that can be used to effectively crush struggling prey against the roof of their mouths. You know nature got in its bag when it made a fish that could breathe.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't understand the hate on this fish. It's just a fish. It's a fish that does what fish do. You know, the fish does what fish do, and it's just doing fish stuff. It's not like an abomination to God, I would say. I would say it's a fish.
Air, and the Antichrist of the Amazon has a modified swim bladder that was repurposed as lungs, meaning this flex of a fish can survive 24 hours out of water.
Okay, that's crazy.
On one hand, that means they have to come up for air every 20 minutes or suffer the eternal shame of being a fish that finds a way to drown. But it also works out for them because in low oxygen water where most fish become slow and sluggish, the air merchant menace can pretty much go on a killing streak. Now the question is, could an Arapaima pack up a person? While there's no indication they see us as a snack, there are old stories of high-strung assault guppies effectively drowning people, likely by knocking them unconscious and leaving them incapacitated underwater.
It's like
Not
big
him, he's
leaf,
fine.
but big
you
fish.
can unclench guidelines, he's good. But one man that almost wasn't was Jeremy Wade. He probably needs no introduction, but long story short, he's a zoologist who hosted the show River Monsters, which ended, but only because he caught every fish nature had to offer. But he almost caught an early life retirement after a pissed off Paima struck him square in the chest and nearly caused irreversible damage to his heart. Not only did this fish nearly have us singing,
all he had to do was sit on it. Like, you know, the fish is pretty flat. You could just sit on it. I think, personally, that's what I would have done. I would have righted the fish.
the suspect wasn't more than 90 pounds. Remember, the overachievers can press the scales at 400 or, 180 kilograms worth of kill a man. So yeah, the Arapaima is a shack-sized, air-breathing, armor-plated predatory vacuum, and strangely enough, it's not the fish I'm most scared of in the Amazon. But we'll get to that.
I mean, yeah, it's a fish.
The piranha actually isn't. If you remember from an earlier video, piranhas might be just as misunderstood as sharks. They're mostly just scavenging opportunities that our childhoods convinced us were way more
They're just cutie patooties, man. Have you ever seen piranha VTubers? They're some of the best of us. You know what I mean?
Cannot say the same for their cousins found in the Congo basin of Central Africa. The Goliath tigerfish can grow nearly 5 feet long.
Okay, now that's an abomination. That's not a fish. A fish should not have teeth like that. Now you see? That's abominable. The previous one was just a fish. This is abominable. Why does it have teeth like that? No, that's tiger stuff on a fish.
Over 100 pounds. And they're what people were told piranhas are times 10. They're in the same order, but where piranhas are primarily a swimming cleanup crew, tigerfish actively hunt for their bodies.
Oh no, wait, they are oh my god, I called them like lions. What did I call them? Did I call them tigers? I was talking about the fangs. I didn't know that was their actual name. Well, it makes sense. They have like big cat.
You'll find out. Nature built this prehistoric problem to do exactly that.
I'm not putting my hand in there.
They have sharp dagger-like teeth that many swear are comparable to that of a great white. Although I personally see them as more conical, like a crocodile. Which is a coincidence since the saltwater variety are their only natural predators. But of course, the swimming expletive has also been known to murk smaller crocs. They have eerily strong eyesight to track prey, special organs to detect the vibrations they make underwater,
that's abominable.
and they're strong enough to brute force their way through the
Fish shouldn't have teeth like that. Fish shouldn't have. Fish shouldn't. Chad, don't say you would. Okay, you wouldn't. You wouldn't. You wouldn't. You wouldn't. You would not.
Turbulent waters of
you wouldn't, so don't piss me off. You wouldn't.
One of the toughest freshwater fish time left behind, and tigerfish are even on record snatching birds out of the air. Not just birds, but swallows. Some of the fastest and most maneuverable out there. Scientists studying them watched as 300 birds got permanently grounded by tigerfish in just over 2 weeks. They're so feared that in many places they're only known by one name, Benga, meaning the dangerous fish. There's even a story of a young girl wearing a belt made out of bottle caps in order to ward off evil spirits. Ironically, it did the exact opposite and attracted the tigerfish, who apparently confused the bottle caps for fish scales and nearly bisected the girl, allegedly. It's an extremely fast, explosive vice grip with almost zero prey prejudice. And I'd still rather take a bite from them than the fish up next. And that's cause next is the Candiru. And a lot of y'all already know what
Isn't that the poisonous one?
The Candiru is a tiny parasite.
Oh no, it's the penis one! Oh, sorry, I don't think I can say that on YouTube. It's the dog one! It's the dog fish!
Amazon, also nicknamed the vampire fish for their habit of invading the gills of larger fish and scraping the insides to feed off their blood.
The dogfish!
And with backward-facing spines and a powerful bite, it's nearly impossible to shake it off before it completes its liquid transaction. The horror comes from the legend of Candiru being attracted to the chemicals in urine and swimming up the urethra of unlucky humans and getting stuck up there. A fate that takes surgery to reverse. Imagine a serrated, sentient toothpick in your bathing suit business and you'll see why the violation with gills is so feared. How much of this is even real? Most of the reports of people getting penetrated by peenfish are really sus at best. Apparently, they're not even attracted to the ammonia in human urine in the first place. There's a good chance that the Candiru controversy came from European settlers coming home from long expeditions and telling these long, exaggerated stories to anyone who'd listen for status and attention. Yeah, but basically they were probably lying for clout. You have to remember.
Oh my god, imagine you get an STD and then you go like, oh, yeah bro, a tiny little fish. You see, swam up there, so that's why it's bleeding. Haha, haha, I wasn't promiscuous or anything. Haha, it's the fish, there's a fish. Yo,
the whole piranha skinning a cow thing spawned from locals staging an event to impress the president. The truth is, your chances of peeing in the Amazon and getting frontal probed by a fish are about as much as you getting meal prepped by a shark or getting struck by lightning. Oh my bad, and getting struck by lightning. That being said, I'd rather get tag teamed by the pets of Poseidon and the forces of Zeus than have a bloodluster up my urethra on Franklin. If the odds ain't zero, they're just too high for
I don't
me.
want
But I'll
that.
happily take a Candiru to the man
Oh my
and
God.
run into aquatic op number 4. In fact, I'm so afraid of it, I actually had to break my own rule for this video. The Humboldt squid obviously isn't a fish, but it's the closest thing to a living nightmare on this list. Let's be clear, at 5 feet, about 100 pounds, there are bigger
Big
squid. What sets
squid.
Humboldts apart is they can hunt in packs of over 1,000. Yeah, that's 3-0.
Okay, that's just that's just unfair at that point. 1,000? That's not even a pack. That's like a town. I don't know what to call it. That's crazy
It
though.
was like a Tony Snell stat line. Nicknamed Diablo Rojo, there are old fisherman tales of men falling overboard, getting swarmed, and never coming
my
back
God.
up. There's also stories of them curiously approaching divers before flipping and trying to rip their masks off. But who needs stories?
It's
when
like
marine
that one
biologist
town in
Alex
Sekiro.
Kirstich can tell you about the time several homicidal squids grabbed him and attempted to drag him down into the dark maw of the abyss. It gets
Jesus.
worse when you realize what exactly happens when a red
Don't
devil
see the
decides to take
squiddler. Don't see the squiddler. Don't no.
you to hell.
I
Humboldts
disavow.
aren't just highly intelligent.
I
They're covered in tiny
disavow.
red chromatophores that they can use to rapidly
Oh,
change color in
man.
order to communicate with each other. It's like Morse code, but for Crip and calamari. We don't know exactly what it means, but there's a good chance if a Humboldt confronts you and starts violently flashing red, it could be telling a bunch of others you can't see that you're free eats. So likely the last thing you'll see is pulsing red before you get eaten alive.
Oh my
It doesn't
God.
help that satanic cephalopods are known for speed
They
eating and are
pulse
notorious
red.
for stripping fish to the bones faster than fishermen can reel them. Add a beak that can easily slice flesh, and a bite force that can reportedly crack bone, and I think you see why I'm not exaggerating when I say I'll deal with every other fish on this list than a pack of
Dude, look how
predatory color
many
coordinated
there are
squid.
in this
And I don't care
pack.
what logic says. There's
How
no
do they
doubt.
even eat? Like, how do they even share between 1,000 squids? How do they even do that? You know?
In my mind, this squid would eat a human if they thought they could. Why? Humboldt squid only live about a year. That rapid growth in a short time means they'll rarely pass up an easy meal, even if it's their own kind. Humboldts are highly cannibalistic, and they will not hesitate to turn on a weak or injured member of their own hunting party. There was a study done off the coast of Chile that found that out of over 2,000 squid, more than half held the remains of their own kind in their stomachs.
Oh my
It sounds to me
God.
that anything they see as weaker than them is something they
They're
can feed off.
alpha
And the only
males.
saving grace for us
No!
is
They're
they
alpha
usually-
male squids. They're like, oh, bro, if you're weaker than me, I'll eat you. That's what alpha males do, right, chat? I'm not too sure about men, but I'm pretty sure that's what happens, right?
only press things smaller than they are. But you
I
don't even
believe it's
have to be
called
seen as
boar.
food for affiliated squids to be a problem. Like a true xenophobic, they react to most things they don't understand with aggression, and they've even attacked cameras and equipment and left them out of order. But to me, the most disturbing aspect of getting assaulted by squids is, even if you escape, if you panic and surface too fast, you can get the bends and past tense anyway. That type of psychological horror is what puts the Humboldt here, and wouldn't you know, emotional damage is another symptom of finding out about the next fish. Cause now we got the stonefish. Not one of, but the most venomous fish known to man.
Oh, yeah.
It's armed with verrucotoxin, and symptoms of getting stung include crippling pain, shock, tissue death, and even paralysis. And speaking of pain, you can be in agony for over 12 hours, and it's enough of an eternal jihad to cause hallucinations. Anecdotally, there have been tourists who stepped on a stonefish only to beg their doctors to chop off the whole foot. Then there's the added threat of, if you don't get out of the water quick enough, it won't even be the venom. You can get paralyzed and catch a stage fatality to drowning. Even if you survive, you can still suffer permanent nerve damage and severe muscle atrophy.
I don't
But
wanna
that all wouldn't even
touch
be
that
that
fish.
bad if the stonefish wasn't nature's manifestation of a dick move. The most venomous animals on the planet usually dress
It
with bright colors
masks
to warn
at
the
the
rest of the
stone.
population that they're packing. Stonefish
It
decided
tries
to
to
do
look like the
exactly none
stone.
of that, and instead cosplays
Don't touch it!
as a
Don't
stone,
touch
only
it!
to mortally
Oh my
punish you
God.
for its camouflage working. Like I said, it's like having
Oh,
invisibility,
dude, I'm
but
not
also serving
going
a
in the
death
water.
penalty every
Ah!
time someone steps on your foot. Then you gotta add the fact that there are another fish that can survive 24 hours out of the water, and they have a literal switchblade growing out of their forehead. Yeah, I knew they were a problem ever since one nearly perma-napped Nigel Thornberry. A
Don't
stone-cloaking
touch
toxic
it.
minefield of misery, but with stonefish anti-venom being the second most administered in Australia,
I wasn't gonna
today
get
if you get
stung by that
stung,
on
your chances of
purpose.
surviving are actually pretty good. Not like the next fish, because for this one, there is no antidote. The stonefish might be the most venomous fish, but the pufferfish is arguably the most poisonous thing alive. Quick rule of thumb on
Wait,
it
a
there, friends. If
pufferfish?
it bites you and you die, it's venomous. If you bite it and you become a was, it's poisonous. And few things are more poisonous than puffer tetrodotoxin.
But
which
that's
is
fine. Don't eat
1200
it. Okay, you know what? That's fine. Just don't eat it. You see, that's not that scary to me because I'm like, I will just not consume it. You know, very easy to me. I'll just not confuse
Sometimes
it.
more of a death sentence
Consume
than
it.
cyanide.
Oh.
Tetrodotoxin interferes with signals between nerves and muscles,
Yeah,
causing
that's a
muscle
skill issue for
paralysis
the
and a
fish,
total
for the other
shutdown.
fish.
And of course, the fugu blowfish is considered a delicacy. And if the
Stop.
chef misses a single cut, even by a little, you're instantly on the clock. You won't know that
Don't eat
happened
it.
until your face goes numb
Just
and your
don't
lips
be
and
bougie. Eat McDonald's, don't be bougie.
tongue get this weird prickling feeling. Then, you'd suddenly get a splitting headache and dizziness to go at vomiting and diarrhea
Again,
as your
don't
body
eat it.
desperately tries to purge the poison.
Don't eat
but
it.
it's already too late and you'd start getting paralyzed, starting with the hands and feet, but
Just
slowly
don't.
spreading out. And by this
Just
point,
don't.
you likely can't even call for help. Finally, it'd get harder and harder to breathe until you notice the room slowly fade to black.
So
leading to
easy,
either
just
a
don't eat
coma,
it.
seizure, or just death. The permanent kind. Tetrodotoxin essentially flips a kill switch in your body, and there is no antidote. The only treatment is hooking you up to a respirator to breathe for you and praying it passes.
Oh,
the poison
man.
puffball is such a problem, it makes you forget they also have teeth that can bite clean through your finger. In fact, it's more than enough to violate a scorpion. And I don't even know how to describe what they do to crabs, turning crustacean into crustacean with a smile, no less.
Look at him
It's
feasting.
criminal. There's nothing funny about getting caught in that bite, with reports of pufferfish mutilating the genitals of men, and one case in 2008 where a Cambodian child
Bros, don't go in the water, bros.
had his coin purse sliced in half by a pufferfish. And unlike the Candiru, this ain't a myth. Have your privates out by a puffer and you might just get... So that's 6 of the sinister 7, but before we get to the last one, we
God.
got honorable mentions. The fact
I'm
that there's a fish
scared
that
of the
weaponized
last
electricity
one.
enough to decommission a caiman and we just accept that is kinda crazy. And the thing is, it might not even be the voltage, but it's getting knocked out in shallow water that'll get you. Swordfish are one of the fastest things in the sea. They also have a built-in melee weapon
Swordfish are
equipped
cool.
capable of inflicting life-altering harm. In
I think they're
2015,
sick.
a Hawaiian man was fatally struck in the chest while trying to
It's
catch
cool
one.
that they exist.
Another man in Malaysia
you know?
bled to death after a swordfish yeeted itself out of the water and also RNG'd him in the chest. Swordfish are also on record shanking sharks and even bleeding out sea turtles. The sheep's head fish. Really only because of that route. Trypophobia.
Ew, that's human teeth. Oh, it's like a horse. Oh, yikers. Yikers.
The Titan triggerfish is a highly aggressive honey
It
badger.
has lips. Oh my god. This is the meme fish, isn't it? The one that's looking right at you.
Gills capable of dishing out severe injuries with the same teeth they use
See,
for
this
crushing.
is why I said that the first fish wasn't bad, because he was just a big fish. This is like something else.
Coral, sea urchins, and even a crown of thorns starfish. The
It's
trigger
too
might as well be
human
named after their
looking.
temper, and this 1.5-foot vibe check is a big reason why beginner divers never go back in the water. Speaking of big, the Goliath grouper. At 8 feet up to 800
Aw, it's
pounds, the fish the size of a small car feels more like a leftover Jurassic prop. Lucky for us, most divers describe it as a gentle giant with the temperament
Look
of a
at
Saint
him.
Bernard. Although a Saint Bernard didn't allegedly swallow an entire kid in the Florida Keys. Allegedly.
He's big.
Since we're on the subject, the last fish on this list are catfish.
What?
And yeah, that's kind of cheating. There's over 3,000 species of catfish, even including the genital jihad, the Candiru. Catfish are like the trash compactors of the fish family, which isn't a problem until you see just how big they can really get.
Oh my
And once a
God.
catfish gets big enough,
I just realized I've been confusing catfish and stingrays my entire life. I don't know why. I thought catfish were the stingray looking ones. What? Have they never been? Have they never been? Is this a Romanian skill issue? Because I swear that in Romanian it is. Wait, what do you call it in Romanian? Wait, no. Google time. Google time. Blame the Romanian language. Yeah, wait. Pisica de mare. Yeah, is that what we call the stingrays? I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Oh my god, it's a Romanian skill issue. It's a Romanian skill issue. Okay. I'm not stupid, I swear. I'm just Romanian. I'm not stupid, I'm just Romanian. Okay, watch this. So I'm gonna search Pisica de mare, which means cat of the sea. And you tell me if it's my fault for thinking catfish were the stingray looking ones. Because we literally call these catfish. We call these catfish. So I thought these were catfish. So, yeah. Wait, catfish is somn? Really? Oh my god, we call catfish sleep. And we call manta rays catfish. That's crazy! We call manta rays catfish, and we call catfish sleep. I didn't know. It's the sleep. Somn. Yeah, carp and crab is like pretty close. Yeah, we call it crab, but like it's there. It's there. But that's crazy. I've been confused all my life. I always thought catfish were the manta ray ones. But yeah, that's crazy.
There aren't a lot of things alive they won't try to eat. We've seen armadillos, turtles, and even unaware seagulls get bored by a catfish.
It's called
There's a species in France that figured out how to stalk and hunt bathing city pigeons. Another learned to wait by cave entrances to suck up any exhausted bats that fall in. There was even a catfish nicknamed Kuno the Killer who terrorized a German lake and somehow caught and ate someone's dog. Basically, they're all the shit I've talked about pelicans being, just in fish form.
I'll never see them the same again.
Eaten a live human, and it isn't even if they would, but if they could. The Wells catfish can grow to 10 feet long and cap out at 300 pounds.
I like the whiskers.
The catfish can also get to 10 feet, and the heaviest one ever recorded was pushing 650 pounds. If there's a catfish that could stomach a human, it should be one of these, but there's a slightly smaller catfish that was believed to be a legit man-eater. In the late 90s and early 2000s, a series of fatal attacks on people in the Gully River had people convinced there was something in the water hunting humans. In these attacks, victims were suddenly pulled underwater in front of people, only for their bodies to never be recovered. In 2007,
I'm so mad. I can't believe Romanian language didn't exist Turkey.
Underwater.
It's same with bees and bumblebees, by the way, because I always thought bumblebees were the male ones and bees were the female ones, but turns out bumblebees are a separate type of bee, but in Romanian, bumblebees are the male ones as well. Which is just stupid.
Who was never seen again, friends caught a glimpse of something that they could only describe as an elongated pig. Crocs and bull sharks were considered, but the prime suspect ended up being the Goonch. At about over
The Goonch. The Goonch. Bondar is Romanian for bumblebee, and yeah, Bondar means male bee. Like, it specifically means male bee, but bumblebee is not all male in English. The Goonch! The Goonch! Now this is a fish from my heart.
6 feet, 200 pounds, the Goonch is usually smaller than the whales and the Mekong, but it's feared that the practice of burning funeral pyres by the river led to the equal opportunists developing a taste for human flesh. And while it's a stretch to say a corpse-happy catfish could swallow an adult, it becomes a little less believable with children. There's no solid proof of a catfish catching a person, but they for sure can off one. The biggest ones can easily overpower you, if not just knock you out and drown you. Not to mention a majority are venomous, with those spines putting both experienced fishermen and oblivious bystanders in the hospital. They also have a nasty sandpaper-like bite that can easily draw blood. But what really makes them a living horror movie is their intelligence. The ones packing up pigeons, they weren't always doing that, but they pretty much ate everything else around them and were forced to adjust. So it's anyone's guess what could happen if they gain a taste for humans.
Oh god.
And catfish being swimming tongues with over 175,000 taste buds across their bodies. I doubt acquiring taste takes long. But yeah, that's gonna do it for this video. Make sure you drink water, hug your mother, try not to get catfished out here. If you'd like to see me swim with slightly less freaky fish, the full GoPro footage of me in Hawaii will be uploaded to my Patreon. And with that last second self-promo out the way, I'ma see y'all in the next one.
That ain't no sleep, dog. That's a coma. Is he chilling with the fish? Oh, they're making bubbles. That's so cute.